Hey guys, welcome to day two. Today is May 30th. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. And this morning when we woke up, we ran into sort of an emergency situation, which I'll talk about real quick. So this morning my mom came to check the refrigerator and realized that it was shut off. We don't know when because last night it was fine, so it must have like shut off sometime early in the morning. Another thing about it, it's probably because of the fact that we did overload the refrigerator with like 2 weeks worth of food, and it's a relatively small fridge to begin with. But the problem is like we didn't know why, and we didn't know how to fix it. So we went about the house like trying all the switches. None of them seemed to like turn it back on, and like especially like the freezer was especially concerning because like a lot of the food, like the blueberries and the dumplings, have already defrosted. So what we did was we called up our family friend and we asked them, "Oh, okay, so has something like this ever happened before? What do we do about it?" And then they were like, "Oh, check the electrical box." So I'm not gonna remove the painting again, but we had to remove this painting. It was behind the painting, and there were a bunch of fuses, and we didn't know which one to try. And then they said to us, like we can't go over obviously because you guys are quarantined, but like if you take a picture, we could send it to our plumber. And we're like, okay, so why not just get the plumber to come in and fix it? They're like, no, the plumber don't want to come into your house to fix it because you're quarantined. So like, hopefully we can like figure this out like by like, back and forth like on like a line. Thankfully the problem was quickly resolved. It was just a fuse that got tripped, so we just had to like flip it back and then, the fridge turned back on again. I suppose this is like an extra incentive to go through the food in the fridge as soon as possible and not just order delivery all the time because, you don't know when it's going to happen again, right? Okay, guys, so this is breakfast from the food in the fridge. So here we have a Chinese egg wrap. I don't know what to call it. And here's a croissant, and then here's soy milk. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a computer issue that I ran into because, yeah, those are fun, right? Long story short, right, this guy I know has a project and he's willing to let me, collaborate with him for a little bit. He was like, "Oh, okay, so, what do you know about Unity, right?" And I was like, "Oh, I actually was playing with that during my leave of absence," which I was. I was trying to make like a 2D, like first-person shooter game. And then he's like, "Oh, okay, so that's great. Why don't you let me know when you get back to Taiwan, and then, we'll get you set up." And I was like, obviously I was really appreciative of this opportunity because, I'm in quarantine, so I don't have much to do, and I need something to pass the time with. So I was like, wow, this is a perfect opportunity to, work on a project like this. And so, the project is sort of graphics based, and so, I had to import a lot of assets, which I started doing this morning. We're gonna have a chat a little bit later in the afternoon. Which leads me to my problem because, okay, for one, my MacBook Air is like 5 years old, and it had like about 128 gigs, I think, to begin with, so not that much space. And because my family's in two separate places, my dad and my brother actually have the desktop, which I usually work on in terms of Unity, and they also have the hard drives, and I don't have any more space on my computer, like literally, to store pretty much anything. So here's my laptop. I try to clear up as much space as I can before I start importing all the assets. First it was going fine, and then it crashed. So I guess we ran out of space after all. I cried. Nothing I can do about it at this point. Actually, my computer's frozen also, so that's a problem. And I tried to do some creative troubleshooting, problem solving. So I thought, oh, okay, so, my family friends, they provided us with, like, hard drives with movies on them, right? So I thought, okay, well, maybe they have some extra space that I can, like, store some of my, like, spare stuff on, and then, like, I'll transfer it later after I'm out of quarantine, right? So I can work on this project now. Turns out, right, this is full. The other one's also full, and so, the problem still remains. And so I suppose, right, I don't really have much of a choice but to explain to my friend and, about this project and how I'm kind of out of memory space and, see where we go from here. Maybe we postpone it, maybe we can find some other solutions. Okay, so I neglected to check my Stanford email for like 2 days, and they have flooded me with like 147 unread mail, and so what I'm going to do at this point is what I usually do, just going through and looking for any relevant mail, especially emails from like job listing websites, the grind doesn't stop. So here's one. Just gonna flag it, and then it's easy. I use like LinkedIn and then whatever. Like, I guess like it's not just me. Like, it's hard for a lot of people to find internships at this point because of COVID-19. Like, a lot of internship positions that normally would be there just aren't around. So yeah. So but then there's no reason for me not to try because again, it'd be nice to have something to do. Over summer, for example, and yeah, I have nothing to do right now. Also. Okay, so I know I've been talking about food for the past like 2 days, but this is something that I think is very much worth mentioning. So it's 3:30, and I got on Food Panda again to browse our options for what we could get for delivery at this point, and I came across this, guys. This is a restaurant called Hushuzang. It's a chain store. I don't know what the English translation is. I don't even know if there is one, but if you know, then you know. And this is not like a paid commercial or anything, just so like we're clear on that. This is just like a recommendation from like the bottom of my heart that I give sincerely to all of you. It's great. It's like, classic Taiwanese cuisine. I'm told that this restaurant has been raising its prices over the years. But still, this is an offer that is very hard to refuse because the food is still really great. And so this will be our late lunch / early dinner, I guess. So just to give you guys an update on how food delivery is working out for my brother and my dad. Like I said last time, they talked to the security guard and they were not willing to allow the delivery guy to bring the food up, which means that they cannot order any food delivery for the time being from companies like Uber Eats or Food Panda, for example. And so a while ago, my dad called the district office and explained the situation, that they couldn't go down and get the food like the rest of the residents, and whether or not they could help them to kind of mediate the situation with the security officer, right? And what the district office said was, we'll look into it Monday because it's the weekend right now, so they're not working. So hopefully the situation is resolved sooner than later, maybe Monday, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the food now. It says they've arrived. It's on the floor. So here it is, guys. So it turns out that they do have an English translation. It's called Formosa Chain. So this is what it looks like with the boxes opened up. It may not look like much, but it actually tastes really good. So this is all like typical Taiwanese food. Here we have with bamboo shoots. This is braised pork rice, I guess. Here we have pork chops and what is this? Pig pork knuckle, chicken, rice, and vegetables. Okay, I think I grossly underestimated the amount of food that we needed. Yeah, it's been like not even 10 minutes and we've already eaten everything and we're still not full, so my bad. Okay, so the trash guy has not showed up yet. He probably will not pick up our trash on the weekend, so we're probably gonna have to wait until Monday before he comes. So in the meantime, we're gonna try to make our waste production as minimal and stack everything up as compactly as possible to conserve space. So like we're stacking up like the paper boxes and whatnot. So remember I showed you the fridge the other day? Okay, so something's missing. The soy milk in this corner. Remember I said that we woke up this morning and the fridge was shut off? So it turns out that that was enough to spoil all the soy milk, so we had to dump it all away. The cans are right here. Just more trash to add on to the impressive amount of trash we already have. This is gonna be a problem. Just thinking about the aspects of food delivery here on Taipei, Taiwan, which we got to experience over the last couple of days. Even in this relatively new community in Danshui District in New Taipei City, right? There aren't that many restaurants, at least nothing compared to like, central Taipei City. But like for the past couple of times when we ordered takeout, whether it's from Uber Eats or Food Panda, right, they usually arrive in like no later than like 20 minutes. And I can imagine like during this time, even for a place like Taiwan where like all the restaurants are open, right, people are scared and they're gonna order delivery like much more frequently, right, than they used to because they don't want to go out. As much as I appreciate being able to order takeout delivery, because I'm stuck here in quarantine for the next almost 2 weeks, I can't help but feel a little bit concerned. Like, are these people being compensated properly? Like, how much are they getting paid? And like, are they stressed out? Are they overworked? Because I feel that very much may be the case, especially during this pandemic period. I have no idea how many delivery runs they do every day. I don't know what negative consequences there will be if they do not make it on time, or if I give them a bad rating or something like that. So just something I was thinking about. So here's an issue that we encountered. We're on the 23rd floor, so that's pretty much the top of this building. Also, right, you can see the amount of large glass window panes there are. And for that reason, especially in like the early afternoon, it gets pretty hot even though we turn the AC up. And so, we try to keep the curtains like half drawn, and we also like close this door, to maximize the efficiency of the air conditioning. Honestly, right, I should have expected this. I lived in Taiwan for like 8 years after all. I understand that it's extremely humid in addition to being hot in the summer, and it could feel like 2-3 degrees like Celsius, like warmer than it actually is. So I'm not really surprised. At least I shouldn't be. And I don't want to jinx myself by saying this, but I'm gonna say it. At least we didn't run into any mosquitoes yet. Okay, so remember I said that, I should be exercising during my time in quarantine. There's this stationary bike in our apartment, but I could not find a way to turn it on for the past couple of days. But then I realized, right, there's I have to swap out the battery in the back of this like control panel, and then like it didn't work even after I switched batteries. But then I went to do something on my phone, and then it just mysteriously turned on. So now I guess I can use this to exercise now. So my mom wants to watch Chinese news, so I set up the TV with the projector, and then like we're gonna paddle for a little bit. Hopefully I do this regularly in the days to come as well. Okay, so I'm paddling right now on the stationary bike. This is actually pretty convenient, given that you can put your phone like on the control panel. That like there's like a little shelf-like thing that you can put it on. This is actually like a perfect distance for like recording myself, so I'll probably be sitting here and talking with you guys at a later date as well. Okay, so we're nearing the end of day 2 of our 14 days of mandatory quarantine. Obviously today came with its problems, like I told you about, having no memory space on my computer, and also like the fridge like shutting off in the middle of the night, like stuff we had to resolve, right? And I gotta admit, like this morning when I filled out the second entry of my health status log, I kind of felt a little bit bad because like it was just like 2 thin lines filled out at the top of the page. The majority of the page is like empty and it's yet to be filled, and I was like, oh man, I have like 12 more days of this like to go through. Like, I don't really know how it's gonna work out. But for the most part, right, I feel it's fair to say that, the rhythms of like daily life, are being reestablished and are coming back. Throughout today, I looked at internships, I watched TV, I did exercise, I texted my friends. In terms of family, I'm living with my mom. My brother and my dad are living in Nehu District in Taipei City, but, we video call them, once or twice every day on a regular basis. So I'm not saying that, quarantine doesn't come with its own set of unique difficulties, because it obviously does, but what I am saying is that, like, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It feels much more normal than I expected it to be. I guess part of the reason behind that is because, even though we weren't like technically quarantined when we lived in the United States, like we were, asked to shelter in place, and that means that like we pretty much like cut down unessential travel to like bare minimum, if any at all, which is a good thing in a sense because like right now I don't feel so bad. So yeah, that's about it from me today. Again, thanks for watching, and I didn't say this before, but if you're in quarantine right now or you've had experiences that you want to share, feel free to share, and we can talk about it if you want. And yeah, 12 more days to go, guys. All right, I'll see you.